Good evening.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm Jonathan,
I'm Justin.
and this is
Two J's,
One
one pod.
Pod.
So, Jonathan, what do you want to talk about?
Well, to keep with our 90s theme of the season, I'm thinking things that were invented in the 90s, toys, TV shows, the World Wide Web, things like that. And I'm actually really excited to talk about them.
Listen, we weren't disappointed with movies, and we weren't disappointed with what we did last week. So, I don't think this will be any different.
No, I think this might be the best one yet.
We'll see.
I
Let's
really
dive
do.
in, man.
So, Justin, what's new with you, buddy? It's been a little bit. We haven't sat down in like 2 weeks now.
Yeah, man. I've just been doing my thing, getting out there a little bit more. Started talking to someone new, but I heard you were pretty busy this week.
Well, let's see. Over the weekend, we decided to take a family road trip up to Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Uh, that's
How
where
was
I'm from
that? So
originally.
you got to go see Sandy.
Yeah, we saw mom.
Sandy. Hi, Sandy.
Yeah, saw mom, a couple other family members, saw some friends of mine.
What about my boo thing up there?
I saw my sister for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, you mean my sister-in-law?
We ain't speaking very much.
Oh.
So I saw her kids though. We took Theoda with us to Knoebels.
Hmm.
Shout out to Knoebels, coolest free amusement park ever. Uh, and then we went to the Bloomsburg Fair.
I saw y'all went like camping or something, didn't y'all? Y'all stayed in a Salem?
We stayed in a Salem Cruise
I
Light.
saw that.
Yeah, my cousin, shout him out, has a full time camp spot up out back of the where I'm from, in the middle of nowhere. So we ended up camping there one night. We're sitting there hanging out. He came by just to help us set up. I'm like, Justin, I've been selling campers since before you were born, bro. Like, I know what I'm doing here. But neighbors across the little creek we were staying at, they were throwing a party. So I was had a couple of beers, and I'm like, Justin, why don't you go introduce us over there? So we're sitting there, and all of a sudden I hear this voice saying, "Yeah, I know him. It's my nephew." Turned out, my dad's brother Marty was hanging out there with his wife, and it's a small area, and we started hanging out. But the coolest thing is that happened was I got the rummage through my mom's attic.
No. What did you find in the attic? Well, before we get
Yeah,
to that, how was the Salem? Was it pretty
it
comfortable?
wasn't bad. He
Okay.
replaced the bed. It was a little bunkhouse, 291 QBXL.
So, guys, if you're looking for Salem, I know where you can find some. But anyways, what did you find in that attic?
So let me reach into my bag of tricks here. All right. First thing I found was my yearbook from elementary school,
Oh, give me this for a minute.
1998. So I was in fourth grade, I think. Third grade.
Oh,
Mrs. Corer. Check it out. But
oh, the '90s! What a time!
I mean, look at that art. Show the art off. Show the art on the front. Look at the front and back. Look at that.
It's like something straight out of like Saved by the Bell.
I mean, it was that era. But yeah, I
All right,
found some other cool stuff.
all right, Jonathan. What page do you have to flip to
I don't
see
know,
this
third grade.
mess?
Keep going. What grade is that? That's probably kindergarten.
This
Oh,
is.
wait, what's that? What is that little magic thing? Let me check that
Oh,
out.
here I can't get it. There you go.
Oh, it's a little cutout from some kid. Not me.
Oh, I don't know who that kid is, but
No
happy
idea.
birthday to you way back in '98.
Uh,
All right, so I'm in third grade. I'm gonna try to find this douchebag without reading any
I don't
names.
appreciate you calling me a douchebag.
Well, I'm gonna read this one because that looks like the kid out there. Ooh, it's not you, but
What's the name?
Andrew. Well, one, two, three, four. One, two, three, four. Timothy O'Brien.
No idea who that is.
All
You
right,
need some
keep
help
going.
counting that. That was pretty. It took a little bit of time there.
Oh, that looks like it could be me. All right. Not seeing you yet,
I
obviously.
told you the teacher's name.
Oh, I didn't. I wasn't paying attention.
Of course you weren't.
Oh. Yep, I got you.
You got me?
Yeah, I got you. Jesus.
Still, that looks like Jones, doesn't it?
Yeah, it actually it does. It
We
really
also
does.
found a bunch of photos of me as a kid. Yeah, I got a good one for you. There you go.
Oh, that's Jones all day.
Yeah, that's me at like 3 or 4.
So punchable even as a child.
I know, right? I don't know what
Yeah.
tape is there, but that's not the cool stuff.
Hope not.
It's funny we're talking about the '90s because I found a VCR.
Okay.
I'm not
Does
gonna
it
pick up the
work?
VCR. So I don't know yet. I don't know about the
Find a
VCR.
TV that'll be like compatible with it.
So I would have brought one back with me because my mom had two up in the attic, two old CRT TVs, and we didn't have room in the car for me to bring them home. But I will bring them next time.
Okay.
But the first thing I found here that I cannot read because this is one of those old school. We used to be able to record. Remember we used to record on tapes. What is written on that?
The Bachelor, Lake Placid, and Superstar.
I mean, one good movie.
Sandy's tape.
That's my mom's, so I didn't. I just grabbed it.
It's movies only in quotation
It's
marks.
pretty cool, right?
What does it's movies only mean? That makes me think it's not
I
movies.
found a pretty sweet one though. Check that one out.
Hey. Alpha's Magical Christmas. Power Rangers.
I can't wait to watch that this year for Christmas.
It looks to be in pretty good shape.
It probably works. I watched it
There's
probably
barely
25
dust
years
on
ago.
this one. It's also a really short film. Look at the amount of
I
tape
know.
in it.
Remember the tape?
Yeah.
Tighten it up a little bit.
And cut your fingers up doing it. Ooh, I know what that is from the color. Guys, can you guess what this is without reading it? Rock with Barney.
I know. I can't wait to play that for Jones.
I'm a Barney guy, obviously.
I'm a Barney guy myself.
You remember the white tapes with like the purple
Yep.
writing and stuff?
I thought I'd find a few of those.
Alright, so this one, not so confident what it is. You know, I thought it was going to be Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but I thought that was too obvious.
What is that? 2?
Three.
3? Oh, the worst one.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I had 3 laying up there. And then last but not least,
I feel like
this is the best one. Old school Coliseum video right there.
Hulkamania 4.
Lift it up a little bit. Camera only cuts off here.
Hulkamania 4.
That's pretty sweet. Goes with
So
the Hulk syrup there.
I actually think, that's what I was going to say, man. I actually think this probably gets a spot up on the shelf. Somewhere, right? Here, you could put it somewhere else later, but
That looks very precarious.
I mean, I can only reach so much on the shelf with my gator arms. I'm sure you could find another place for
It'll
it.
be fine.
But yeah.
But yeah, so that was about it. It was a good time. Camped out a little bit. Went to the fair. Went to Knoebels and dug through my mom's attic. What about you? So what have you been up to all week? Nothing.
No, dude.
Nothing new. Just
I've
working, hustling.
So I've stayed at my house 2 out of the 7 days this week. So I'm pretty tired. I'm pretty ran down.
Playboy.
if that's what you want to. No, I mean it's just one person. So
Just
no.
one.
Just one.
Who you been seeing?
Someone
Someone? Where'd you meet her?
around.
Is it a girl?
It's a female.
It's a female?
Yes,
Just
it's a
making sure.
female,
You never
man.
know with you sometimes.
It's 2024, man. It's almost
I'm
2025.
not here to judge.
Yo, YOLO. You only live once. Not saying it wouldn't, but I mean, in this case, it's a female.
Well, I mean, they benched Bryce.
Yeah, about time,
About
right?
time,
I
right?
mean, dude, Red Rocket looked good.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
he looked sharp.
he's still got
so
some
I'm
kick
not
left
mad
in
at
that
him.
arm.
So I hope they keep him in this week, or
They will.
and he'll hopefully keeps doing his thing. There's potential in Bryce, but he has to get that footwork under control because it's pretty bad.
He's just too small.
Well, Kyler Murray's picking up on things, so
Yeah, I mean,
he has a team around him.
he's
though.
got a little bit of a team around him. But I mean, also, I mean, it's not like you guys don't have weapons.
So you know what
Because Andy Dalton just threw 3 or 4 touchdowns
yeah.
and like looked great. So is it the team's fault or is it Bryce Young's just not an NFL quarterback?
So, moving to college though. So even though it's a bye week for Carolina, I have to say, I just saw Kentucky take down Ole Miss earlier, and I love that because we beat Kentucky, we play Ole Miss. It does kind of suck that Ole Miss is going to come into that game pissed off now, but
Yeah, happens.
Still, dude, if we could beat Ole Miss, that's cool.
They didn't look good today at all.
But we have a rough 4 games coming up.
Well, I will throw it out there. Packers been looking good with a backup quarterback.
Yeah.
Yeah, so backups owning the league right now. But I mean, let's you want to hit this?
Sure, man.
So we want to start. Do you want to start with what really runs the world now?
I'm guessing it's the girls.
That's a Spice Girls reference.
Yes.
That's good. That was last week. Yeah. The first web browser was released in 1990.
1990, the first web browser.
I mean, I was one. You weren't even born yet.
No, I was not. Not for another 3 years.
Do you remember your first soiree on the internet?
Yes, I do. So we used to have a desktop set up in the kitchen, and it was one computer in the house you would go sit at in the kitchen, and everybody would be able to see what you were doing. For me at the time, it was MySpace. It was the MySpace times. That's how late it was.
So that's like 2004,
Yeah,
3.
I grew up in a swamp, man. We didn't get internet. We didn't get internet out in the swamp until like 2002.
So I remember probably 90s, probably fourth grade, probably third grade when you saw that. We had a desktop set up in our kitchen. Weird. We had dial-up internet.
I kind of missed that sound. Not at the time, but
Now it's like I wish something made that sound nowadays because it's the most annoying sound ever.
bring back the archaic sounds.
But my uncle figured out a way to dial into other people's phone numbers and steal internet from people.
That's like, remember whenever they made the chips that you could stick into your
Your box,
satellite
your
boxes?
direct TV or dish, and be able to get all the
Yeah.
pay-per-views.
We had a plug. I ain't gonna say his name, but you know who you are.
Yeah, that's I miss. My uncle had a card, and that's where I actually watched Owen Hart pass away. I was at that house. 98, 99, 99.
So it's crazy that internet was invented in 1990, and I was born in 93, and I didn't really have relative access to it until well into the 2000s.
Yeah, I mean, I was in high school when you had access to it.
That's kind of crazy.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Do you remember whenever internet still came to you in a CD in the mail?
the AOL disc.
Yeah.
We used to. So when I was in high school, they still had those stupid discs, and you could take them for free from anywhere they're at. So we used to take boxes of them, and we would throw them at cars. Or if we didn't like you, we'd AOL disc your whole house.
God, the shit they did in the cities, man.
Oh yeah, my little town of 10,000 people.
And we just got drunk and showed up at the local Sonic.
You had a Sonic?
No, we had to go to Buford for Sonic, but I mean,
Oh.
originally it was the Waffle House. But if we wanted to be high class, we went out to Buford and went to the Sonic.
Damn.
Shout out to Buford Sonic. Y'all know who y'all are.
Y'all know who you are.
Everybody.
I remember the first time I discovered internet porn too. You remember that? Or was that like late 2015?
I don't remember the first time for internet. No, it was DVDs. I mean, I remember the DVDs and magazines.
I remember magazines, and my stepdad had a box of pornographic VHS that were hidden behind the love seat in our living room.
Yeah, I was probably an adult by the time
I was like
it
7,
went
dude, when I found that shit.
Yeah. Anyways, we're talking about 90s inventions.
I mean, come along with the internet, we had the release of Google in 98. Google, 98.
Think about how good of an invention, how great of an invention Google is. I mean, we literally use it every day.
Every day. We're
Most
using
people-
it right now.
I
We're
use it
using
every time
Google
I
Docs.
eat food. I Google like food near me, and that's how I decide where I'm going to eat that night.
I mean, they've taken over. I mean, another thing along the lines is, what was that?
I take pictures with my phone, and Google tells me what type of flower I'm looking at. That's insane.
That's fancy.
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe it. Well, back when Google was invented, we had a little thing called Ask Jeeves. I liked Ask Jeeves a little bit better than Google,
Remember Ask Jeeves?
but Google squashed them and got rid of them.
I forgot
Also,
about Ask Jeeves, man.
Ask Jeeves was awesome, wasn't it? Amazon, speaking of a powerhouse in 2024, where half the stuff we're looking at in this room right now is from Amazon.
You know another thing from back then
What?
that we're probably forgetting that I don't think you have on here? Maps. Remember the app that we used to print out directions?
MapQuest.
MapQuest,
So
yeah.
you'd go on our computers, type in thing, and to go on a road trip, you had to print out this printout.
We would have 4 or 5 or sometimes 18 pages of turn by turn directions.
Oh my God, I don't miss that at all.
See, I was still backseat driving. I mean, I wasn't driving in the MapQuest days, but
Neither was
I
I.
remember it. I
I,
wouldn't be able to do it.
I
I,
remember going like coming down to South Carolina and my aunt having the printout of MapQuest 95 to this. 90.
yeah, well, my parents used to take trips to Canada, so you could like imagine their MapQuest receipts or their
Oh,
printouts.
I can't. 'Cause when we just did the road trip to Canada 2 months
Mhm.
ago, even my Waze was like, it was nuts. Uh, Sticking with the internet. So yeah, eBay.
eBay.
Do you think eBay still just as big as it was like in that like 10, 15 years ago?
No, because I think it was super big at one time, and now I think eBay is more of a niche thing. With the explosion of Amazon and how easy it is to find almost everything at the competitive price. And no, this isn't a plug, and we're not sponsored.
No.
Why go to eBay? So I think eBay is more of a place to find more vintage
Some of the
and
stuff
like
we got on the walls
collectible
here,
stuff.
which
Exactly,
is
that's what I
my
was getting into.
homage to what we all love.
Hmm.
Uh, and speaking of things we love,
So I think it's great for a collector market,
oh
but
yeah, definitely. But the big thing that I remember from the '90s, because I'm looking through this list, so text messaging. I mean, hell, we're still using that today. But '92. Now, the first Nokia cell phone was released also in the '90s, but I didn't really care too much about that, which I think is pretty cool. Remember T9? Do you remember T9?
I
Remember
do.
two?
Or I'm a badass at T9, dude.
I don't think I could do it anymore.
These fingers, like, they know what to do.
Do you think you could still hit it?
I think I could. I can still hit it. I can. These fingers can make it work. I promise you,
I don't know. I don't know if I still got it in me.
dude. I at one point I know I could type faster with T9 than I could on a BlackBerry, and I don't know how that's
I
possible.
second that.
I don't know how it's
And I
possible.
think I was a faster texter back in T9 days than I am now on our
It
iPhones.
felt like it because your fingers are going
And
like Mach
I was a
speed.
one finger guy too. I'm still a one finger guy.
It depends.
Always, especially on the flip phone,
It
like the
depends on
Razor.
how intense I'm getting with the text message, honestly.
Like you could say, "Hey," you click what 7? You click 9 times to say, "Hey," but that 9 clicks was like 10, not even a second. It's like boom,
Right.
boom, 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 boom. Oh, those were
It's
the
all
good old
muscle
days.
memory, man. Once you got it down, it's muscle memory.
I know. I can't wait because I would love to get Jones when he's like 13, give him a flip phone, so he has to put up with what we put up
Hmm.
with growing up.
Most of the stuff we've touched on thus far, though, are probably the most impactful things or the most impactful inventions from the 90s. Um, they're the things that still last till today. But most of the inventions from the 90s that I'm so biased towards are probably irrelevant today, most of it. Um,
You think
and
so?
I don't think irrelevance probably some of them, yeah.
MP3 players,
MP3 players,
because that got crushed by the iPod, and the
Nintendo.
iPod got crushed by the
Well, I guess you
iPhone.
can't say Nintendo's because we still have a variation of Nintendo
Yeah,
still,
video games are bigger now than they are ever were. It's the biggest. It's bigger than the entertainment. It's bigger than movies. It's bigger than music.
thanks to Amazon and Netflix. We've lost DVDs,
Yeah,
kinda.
this surprised me that I found DVDs released in '96.
Because again, I didn't have DVDs until the
I don't remember
2000s,
getting
man.
DVDs till like high school.
Well, actually, you know what? My first DVD, one of my first DVDs was actually Harry Potter, and that was released in 2001. So,
So I guess
still, I
early
mean, that was
2000s.
still about 10 years after they were released almost.
Once again, your math's terrible. It's only 5 years, but
All right, 92,
96.
or I thought you said 92.
No,
Okay. I was about to say 92 to 2000 would be 8 years, and then one more year
that
is
would have
9,
been.
and
So you
that's
wouldn't.
almost 10.
I mean, maybe open your ears a little bit, bro.
So, whatever.
Uh,
I'm not good at math, but whenever it's single digits, I know what I'm talking about.
yeah. I mean, the biggest things I would say, like, you know, I I would think that the biggest thing that was released or invented in the '90s that's not technology is probably Pokemon. Like most definitely.
Well, I'm still a Pokemon fan to this day. I tell everybody how much of a nerd I
I
am.
mean, as am I.
So, guys, I am 31 years old, and on my karaoke playlist is the Pokemon soundtrack.
I mean, 96 we had the release of these two wonderful games.
Pokemon Blue.
Pokemon Red.
Mm.
Favorite Pokemon from the originals? And if you say Pikachu, I'm gonna slap you.
Um, so my starter Pokemon, I was always a Bulbasaur guy.
Really?
Yeah.
The worst of the three starters.
Mm-hmm.
The vegan of the three starters.
Mm-hmm. And if it wasn't Bulbasaur, then it was Squirtle.
See, Squirtle's the best starter. But
Squirtle was usually my go-to, honestly.
I was always a Charmander guy.
No, because see, everybody likes good Charmander. Everybody wants a Charizard.
Well, you're screwed those first two gyms. First gym's rock. You ain't doing shit with Charizard. Second gym's water. You ain't doing shit with Charmander. I mean, your best starter for those first two gyms is Bulbasaur or Squirtle. I'd say Bulbasaur first, Squirtle second.
Yeah,
but after that,
that's another reason I never got into Charizard. It takes you longer to develop him, versus I think you can get to Blastoise relatively quick compared to the other two. In my experience.
In your experience, they all level at the same level, but yeah.
Nope.
No, actually, you're correct. Bulbasaur will hit Venusaur at level 32. I just recently had a playthrough. I love me some Pokemon. I really do. I mean, Pokemon's my second favorite.
I was even watching some of the current shows they had a couple of years ago. Like, I'm still into it.
Did you watch the Red versus? They did a Pokemon that was based on the video game, a TV show on Amazon.
No.
I mean, that I gave you my Prime. You should check it out.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't seen that one.
Can't remember what it's called.
I forget the
last Jamie.
One. Hey, Jamie, could you pull that up for us? No, the last one I watched, I can't remember, is XYZ or something like that, but it's actually pretty good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I can't get into it.
I did.
What was that? Pokemon new show based on game.
So did you ever get into collecting the cards?
Pokemon Origins.
No, I haven't seen that.
It is on. No, this isn't it. Yeah. It was released in 2013. I'm like just watched it like 4 years ago. But it is on. I don't know where it's on. I'm pretty sure it's on Amazon.
All right, I'll check it out.
So yeah, it's because it's based on Red, who's the main character in the Pokemon or Blue, but it's pretty sweet. I would check that out.
Yeah, I'll check it out. Growing up watching Pokemon, did you ever collect any of the cards or anything?
I did, and I kick myself to this day for not keeping my collection, bro.
I had like 3 binders full.
Yeah, I probably at one time I peaked at 25 first edition holographic Charizards.
There's this one girl who lived out in the swamp, rode the bus with us. Shout out to Shay if she ever listens.
Amazon. Sorry, I went down a rabbit hole. I had to figure out where it was at.
So shout out to Shay Roberts if she ever listens to the podcast. Had a dope Pokemon collection. Her teacher, don't know what teacher it is. I ain't gonna endanger her life by saying her name, but ended up taking Shay's collection, and that was the end of that. Never got that back.
What?
Yeah, from what I remember, I don't know, but
yeah, teacher would have taken my shit. I'm calling mommy. Mommy coming down and slapping the shit out of a teacher.
Oh, I've had my mom come up there for Pokemon cards before. You think I'm playing?
You know,
I was a little bitch.
I remember I was getting in trouble at recess for playing our Game Boys because we all had a different like Pokemon Yellow, Red, and Blue, and we'd bring our little connection cable and be trading.
Yeah. At
recess. Speaking of that, I mean,
I would steal my cousin's connection cable.
I mean, listen to this. You see the powerhouse of video game consoles that were released in the 90s?
It's a pretty big list.
And that's not even everything. This is just the main stuff. I don't have the Atari Jaguar on there and some of the other bullshit things, but
so we got the Super Nintendo 1990.
Still one of the greatest systems of all time. I still rock on the Switch online. Play it sometimes. Donkey Kong Country, Super Mario World.
Donkey Kong Country was one of my favorite games, man.
To this day, it's still one of my favorite games of all time.
I love it.
Uh, and then you had Sega, and there was Sega Saturn, one of the biggest busts in
Yeah, I was
history.
gonna say I don't think I ever. I think I played a Sega once.
My cousin was a spoiled little brat. I love him to death. He's the one with a camper too. He had they bought him everything. He had a Sega Saturn. The only person I knew had one. He had a Sega CD. He had a 32X. He had the Sega, but he also had like everything. He had the Virtual Boy, uh, N64, Super Nintendo, PlayStation. The kid had every system ever known to man. I wish I knew what happened because Sega systems, Sega Saturn, and Sega CDs are pretty pricey right now.
Never played a Virtual Boy either.
Do you know what it is?
Is that a Game Boy?
So a Virtual Boy was released '95. Yeah, it was Nintendo's first foray into virtual reality.
Oh,
Uh, it gave kids headaches and seizures.
I can imagine.
It didn't last very long.
Yeah, I was going to say it's probably as garbage as it sounds being in '95.
It was one of the worst things ever invented.
But in '96, we had one of the, greatest inventions of all time, in my personal opinion, because I'm super biased.
I'm super biased too.
It was one of the first game consoles I can remember unwrapping at Christmas. And I'm talking about the Nintendo 64.
Oh,
Guys, being a kid in the 90s, unwrapping a 64, holy.
yeah, I have two big
It
memories.
might as well have been a PlayStation 5, dude.
I mean, two of my biggest memories from being a kid, my greatest memories, held it. The best things I ever got was my Super Nintendo in '94.
That was cool, too.
Unwrapping that was fucking awesome. And then unwrapping my N64 2 years later.
The Nintendo might have been a
And
little
playing
boring.
Mario Kart and Super. I remember the first time seeing that little red plumber in 3D.
Yeah.
Blew my
And
mind.
you talk shit about it, but whenever I got my Super Nintendo, one of the ones I got was Yoshi Island. That was the first game I got for it.
Oh, I didn't talk shit on Yoshi's Island.
I played the hell out of Yoshi's Island, man.
So, are we talking Yoshi's Island for Super Nintendo?
Super Nintendo.
So, yeah, the Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island. Yeah, great game, dude. I don't talk shit on that game.
Mm-hmm.
You got Baby Mario falling around you.
Yeah, we got Baby Mario,
Uh,
man. And all the different color Mario or Yoshis.
And I remember getting so I never got a Game Boy Color.
I did.
I had a Game Boy Pocket.
I had a Game Boy Color and a Game Boy Advance.
I still have a Game Boy Advance laying here somewhere.
And then the SD or whatever after that.
SP.
SP.
That was 2003.
They were kind of cool. I
2002.
liked my SP, man. Pocket size, foldable.
Full lit up screen. You didn't have to
Yeah.
like worry about the streetlights
They
anymore.
had good colors too, like the
Beautiful.
blue and the red.
And that was it was like a Super Nintendo in your hand because some of the games they released on it. But I remember my stupid Game Boy Pocket. It was like this big, and it was silver, and the screen was bigger than all the other screens, but it was still fit in your pocket. But it was still in black and white. It was black and white, not that green from the original Game Boy. But it was like released right before the Game Boy Color, and I wasn't cool enough to get a Game Boy Color until much later in the late like '99.
I actually had a Game Boy. No, it was later. I didn't have a Game Boy Color in '98. It was probably like 2008 whenever I had mine, but I had one.
And then the most underrated, PlayStation came out. PlayStation still runs, but the most underrated system in this list is the Sega Dreamcast. And if Sega doesn't screw up with Sega Saturn and didn't burn everybody, Dreamcast was awesome. It had the best sports game. It had 2K, 2K99, NFL 2K99. It's still considered, in my opinion, one of the greatest football games of all time. Randy Moss was on the cover. Come on.
Brandon Moss, man.
But that was so that's and these were still considered toys then, but I don't consider them toys.
They're kind of, listen, if you think about it, it literally is a toy if you think about it.
I mean, I don't think they consider
I don't feel like it's a toy.
PlayStation 5 a toy anymore, do you?
Listen, I don't feel like it's a toy, and I don't get that inspiration out of it. But if you think about it, it is something we play with. It is a game.
It is. You know the crazy thing about video games is?
What?
Is that even back in the early 90s, to buy a brand new game, guess how much it was?
$22.
$60. Brand new. Guess how much it is to buy a new game nowadays?
70.
I was going to say it's about $60 still.
It's 70,
It's
I'm
70
looking.
now. Let's go a year ago before crazy inflation.
65.
Still was like $60. So from 1990 till 2024, the only market that didn't have inflation really on it. I mean, recently things have gotten a little bit more expensive, but were video games. An N64 when it came out brand new was $3.49.
I remember when video games used to be 50. I thought, like, wasn't that a thing?
GameCube games were $50, and then they
Maybe my
dropped.
dad just didn't even entertain looking at video games until it came down to 50 at least.
Yeah, it's just crazy to me that they never really. That's like one of the only things that never got way more expensive, even though it's like a million times more now to actually make a video game. Excuse me. I'm leaving that in there. I burped. Red Bull's killing me. But speaking of toys, I know I made a small list for us to look through, and there's definitely more. But I can. Why don't we just take a rewind and go back to Pokemon?
The first one, well, I mean, we could.
Let's just alone Pokemon toys. I mean, they were on top of the cards, which I would consider. I mean, I wouldn't consider them a toy.
I
The
would not.
games, a toy per se, but like the little Pokemon figures, you could buy the Pokeballs and like
Do you remember whenever Burger King gave the little Pokeballs with
yes, the gold cards
the
in them.
gold card?
Yeah, there's 5 of them in this house somewhere. I try to dig them out. They'd be on the shelf somewhere, but I can't find them. They're in one of these boxes somewhere, dude. Uh, Shout out to my Pokemon Monopoly behind Justin's head and the 2 Pokemon puzzled. I like
Didn't you
Pokemon.
give this to me?
Another one. I had 2 of them.
I don't think I actually took
So
possession.
there's another one here somewhere.
Okay. I want my shit.
I mean, fine. I have like a few of them. It has all the pieces too in it. We were
Good.
gonna play it the other day. Uh, but
I never really had any of besides some stuffies and the occasional
Yeah, I guess.
Pokeballs and stuff. I never really had a bunch of Pokemon
no, it's
games
more about
or toys.
the cards and the games.
It was the cards and the games and the TV show for me, and the occasional outfits. But I remember the one that stands out the most to me on the list for personal stuff that we had was obviously Bop It. We had every variation they had of Bop It, man.
Bop It was
just
awesome.
the shit to do whenever you're bored, man.
You can still get Bop It on Amazon.
You can still get Bop It.
Bop It, Skip It, and Simon Says. I didn't put Simon Says. Remember Simon Says, the
Oh,
stupid
yeah.
square game like that.
Simon Squared. Remember all those little handheld games were like
Crossfire. All the I could have. This whole thing could have been a list of cool board games, I guess per se they'd be considered, or
a whole Fisher Price section.
I don't know if they even. Yeah. Uh, the things I remember the most, or I guess because I'll use my as when I was a kid, is Power Rangers. Because not only did you have one of the coolest shows on TV, they made the coolest toys.
Yeah, because
I mean, come on, bro.
and it was great marketing too. Because not only do you have to buy one toy, you have to end up buying 5 toys. Because guess what? All 5 toys go together and make a Zord.
So they sold them all together. They did as one Zord, and they popped apart.
All right. In that case, y'all's marketing sucks.
But it didn't, because every 6 months it felt like there was a new Zord. I only have the first 2 up there. I actually have every one.
I just told them how to make like 4 times.
They could have made so much money.
in, like,
I would have bought
30
every one of
years
them.
later. Good guys, y'all really blew that. Good job.
And that was the first. There were some shows before that like had action figures and stuff like that. I think the reason Power Rangers got so big in the States was because of that, because of those awesome toys.
Yeah.
And to this day, they still play fun. I took them apart when I was putting this together for us, our little background we have now.
Well, I remember whenever your nephew was here last year, he was playing with them, and he's what, a 7-year-old, 8-year-old,
Yeah,
going
now
ham on them, and they're fine.
Yeah, they're awesome.
I know one of the earliest ones I remember having was Furby, and because we went to my grandparents' house for Christmas one year, and that's one of the gifts I got was a white Furby.
You got the devil?
I love my Furby.
Oh
man.
my
I've
God,
had it.
I hated that thing.
love
So
you.
by the time Furby released, I was a little older. So you are more closer to my sister's age. I remember her getting a stupid Furby, and at night, sometimes out of nowhere, you'd hear. It had that weird language it talked in.
Wow.
Yeah, it'd be like 2 o'clock in the morning. It'd wake up and it was so loud, it'd wake up the whole house.
It would start freaking out for nothing, like wow.
And I don't know if she kept it, but I remember when I got to high school, and one night I drank a little too much or something. Took a little bit too many of fun things, and let's just say I wasn't in the right state of mind. And I came home, and I'm sitting in my room just staring at the wall, and all of a sudden I heard the Furby, and I lost my shit.
The Furby.
And that was the scariest toy I've ever heard. It was a robot. I thought it was gonna take over the world.
You haven't even talked about the scariest part of Furbies, bro. Have you ever taken the fur off?
Oh, they look creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't partake in that. I'm not a
I
weird.
thought that's why you're so terrified. You've seen them
No.
without the. So try burning one and having like burn fur part metal Furby staring at you, still talking because they're indestructible and don't die.
Yeah, I'm good on that, dude.
It's like the Terminator but worse.
Like I'm my palms are sweaty thinking about Furby, dude. He makes me nervous.
With that being said, I think that's one of my favorite things on the toy list.
I don't know. I like Tickle Me Elmo fad.
I was just gonna say the effect that Tickle Me Elmo had.
Every kid wanted it. It was what's that movie? Jingle All the Way.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it really was
Yeah.
for Tickle Me Elmo.
You can literally find videos still today on YouTube of people acting
Moms
insane
fighting over the last Tickle Me Elmo.
It was like Black Friday during Christmas, and yeah, like Jingle All the Way. It was exactly like that.
It's funny we don't have that really anymore though. Like
No,
the old
not
days
with
were
toys. No,
not with toys with anything.
Do you know why? Because you go to order everything on Amazon.
On Amazon.
Way to things up.
Yeah,
Jeff Bezos.
I mean, Black Friday
he's
is
gonna
not even.
fuck us up now.
Oh,
Shouldn't have did that.
You're the man, Jeff. We
Dude,
apologize. Sorry,
everything
buddy.
I have in my house, Jeff, I bought from you. We love you.
No, there's no, Jeff. You're awesome. You're
Yeah.
the man. I love you.
I love your
Great
yacht.
man. I'm good.
Yeah.
Don't make me disappear, please.
You know. I'm not laughing.
I can't help but laugh. But you remember Super Soakers?
I do, of course. We didn't call them water guns back then.
No, they were Super Soakers.
They
I
were
still to this
Super
day
Soakers.
say Super Soakers.
If you had a water gun and it wasn't a Super Soaker, you're a bitch. Get off our lawn.
It was a brand, and
It was.
but we affiliated every one. I got the big one with the backpack on it. Filled that backpack, took the whole thing
Oh,
off.
the backpack ones, dude. And it was. So you know the Nerf craze that the kids have going on today. That was our Super Soaker.
But we created the Nerf gun.
You're welcome.
You're welcome, nerds.
You're welcome. But now Super Soakers, whenever you got a Super Soaker, that was like Christmas without it being Christmas.
Everything was so violent. We had
Yeah.
Super Soakers, Nerf guns.
And I lived in the South, man. That was the best part.
Because it was hot until it was 95 million degrees out every day.
Sometimes you'd just be sitting in your living room spraying yourself in the face with your Super Soaker, and that was okay.
Yeah, we only had like 3 months of the year to play with our Super Soakers. But
Yankees.
yes, Yankees.
Thank you
But-
to our PA viewers, by the way. I noticed we have some out there, so thank you guys.
I
as
mean,
well.
it's the third most that we've
Yeah.
had.
We have
Third.
7 in California, and that's insane to me. So thank you guys as well.
I mean, thank everybody for putting
Yeah,
up with us. 'Cause
absolutely.
I think our first episode was great, was good. I
Mhm.
don't think our second episode was that good.
Well, you didn't do any editing.
I
It
did
was
a little bit,
rough,
but once we have structure again,
Mhm.
we really had no structure with the first one. We've realized me and Justin need structure.
yeah,
We can't go off the cuff. We need something,
I
at least
need
something to
structure.
remind us what
Yeah.
we're talking about.
we get on
Uh,
tangents and just start listing and listing and
Yeah,
listing.
well, it was good until pop music, and then after pop, it was all right.
That's where it trailed off.
But I mean,
I'm sure you had a Geopet, right?
I had a Tamagotchi.
Tamagotchi. I think I had a Geopet.
So Tamagotchis were the originators,
Mm-hmm.
and they were like 19.99 or something. And then a year later, Gigapets released for like 12.99. So everybody got Gigapets. They're back. You can buy them now still. They came
If
back.
I'm not mistaken, like they were the ones we could feed and stuff.
They
right?
would die. They taught you how to take care of something.
Yeah, like how cool was that back in
If
the
they didn't
90s?
sleep properly, if you didn't feed them, take them for walks, they died.
So, younger viewers,
Everything we
listening-
had died.
Yo, except the fucking Furbies.
No wonder we're so fucked up, our generation.
So, the younger generation watching this is going to be like, you people had keychains that you tried to keep alive.
They weren't just keychains, bro.
I'm from a
From
point of
a
view,
20-year-old punk.
some young kids are going to look at this, going to be like, you guys had keychains you tried to keep alive and you named. Y'all are whack as.
So in the video,
We loved our pets.
so we're
guys.
doing our first recording,
Yeah.
and on the video when I release it on YouTube, I'll put pictures up of this stuff so you guys can see what we're talking about
Yes.
because I don't I mean, you may remember Tamagotchis. I keep saying I want to say Tamagotchis because it's TA, but it's Tamagotchis. They were probably a little bit bigger than this little remote. A
It was
little
like a
bit
one
bigger.
by one square.
Yeah, but they were awesome,
Yeah.
and they were really a keychain.
It was a keychain.
Yeah, and now I mean, there's an app on
A
your
keychain
phone.
that we love.
You can download the app now on your phone.
They just try to keep your phone alive. I do that every day. I have to charge it. It's boring.
Uh, I mean, the '90s was cool. We keep looking back and how cool the music was, how great. We didn't really touch on how the great movies, but you know, some good movies we talked about. But
We'll end up circling back to movies at some point, I'm
yeah, I
sure.
think but it's just funny that all this stuff that we're talking about, the internet is the biggest thing that ever happened. Google's still doing its thing. Pokemon, it's been 30 years almost, and it is still going
Still,
strong.
matter of fact, I don't know if you're aware of this. Ash finally hung up
He
his
retired
backpack. Yeah,
at 10 years old.
finally hung up his backpack at 10 years old,
I mean, you can
guys.
only be 10 for so long.
No, right? He's been 10 for 30 years. But so the new guy, I think his name's Blue actually or something like that. I forget the new kid's
I
name. He's
haven't checked
actually
it out.
he grew on me. You get a whole 2 seasons with him before Ash
I'll check
leaves.
it out.
And he grows on me.
I'll check it out. But
He's no Ash though.
I mean, video games, you still have Nintendo still doing its thing with the Switch, which is going to end up being the number one selling console of all time.
Yeah, it's just the most convenient thing. I mean, if you're trying to get tablets out of your kids' hands, or even if you as an adult, you're just trying to play video games on the go. I mean, it's a good solution for a lot of people.
And if you like old retro video games like Super Nintendo, Sega,
Oh, dude.
Nintendo, Game Boy, they have a whole online thing. It's $50 a year or something like that, and you get tons of retro
It's
games.
probably so worth it. The amount of Donkey Kong Country I played on your account was
Well,
probably worth it alone.
There's three, one, two, Donkey Kong Country 1, 2, and 3. All of them are on there.
I
And
played
if you
all
were to
three.
buy those with a system, that's like $125. You can
Mhm.
buy a Switch for a used for $200,
And just hook it up to your TV, and
and it
boom,
has the
boom,
dock,
boom.
everything like that. And they are getting ready to announce the next Switch soon, or the
Guys,
next Nintendo console.
if you're into 90s Nintendo, do it.
And I think the one we didn't touch on in the video games was PlayStation.
No, and but that's
I didn't
that's
have a PlayStation until I was like in high school.
so I got my no, I was younger than that. I was already
No, it's
the
probably
only
middle
reason I
school.
got one. I got a PlayStation 2. It was originally my brother's, and it got handed down to me. I won't say why, but I got his PlayStation. I was probably in 8th grade.
Yeah, I got my Uncle Joey. He gave me his. I remember getting his PlayStation.
Did he go to
Visual Play.
prison too?
No, he just got older.
Ah, cool.
He went to college or some shit.
Same thing.
Uh, but PlayStation started in '94, and now they are the number one video game company in the
Yeah.
world.
And you have the big debate, Xbox or PlayStation. But I've been PlayStation ever since I was a kid. I love the controller. I love the exclusive games. I love the sports play. I'm a PlayStation guy.
I like video games. I'm
If-
probably a Nintendo guy at heart. Like I
Mhm.
love Nintendo more, but
And you're honestly an Xbox guy.
I was. I mean, I went and splurged and I didn't buy
You
a
did.
Series
You-
X.
You switched over to the dark side.
I bought
I'm
my
proud
first
of you.
PlayStation console since the PS3.
I'm very proud of you for that.
Because the PlayStation 360 era, I was a spoil. I mean, I was old enough. I bought them both.
Mhm.
But for the PlayStation, for Xbox One and PS4, I didn't have a PS4 till like a year ago. I got one from a dude.
So I had a 4 not long after they came out. That was kind of one of the first times I ever got a new system. I still don't have a 5. Lucky enough, my roommate, thank you, Scott, he bought himself a 5, and I'm kind of lucky enough to be able to use that
I
one
got a
right
5
now.
sitting on the shelf out there. It's the ugliest console there's ever been, but I love it.
Yeah, I do.
I mean, it's
So,
a great
I
console.
will eventually get my own 5, but right now,
And
I'm reaping benefits.
I guess the only thing that didn't last from the video game era was Sega. They died on the vine.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, the only thing I can think of when I think of Sega is Sonic.
Yeah, and that's
And,
why he's up there. That's why he got the shelf.
I think he probably would have made it no matter what system he was going with. So
No, but that blast processing on the Sega Genesis, and hell, we didn't even touch on the console wars and all that stuff.
no, I mean the whole different that's a whole podcast itself, man.
But there was so many releases of consoles that we didn't talk about. You had the Commodore 64.
Never heard of it.
You had the Atari Jaguar. You had the 3DO and the 3DI.
Yeah, all these are
Panasonic.
okay.
Panasonic, bro. They made video game consoles. And I could name, and there's a laundry list of them. And all those companies failed. Early 90s, there was... Right now, you think of video games, you think there's 3 players. Back then, there was like 50 players, and they all went out of business. But the cream rises to the top. You still have Nintendo and PlayStation doing their thing 1 and 2. And Xbox, and at least in the United States, is a close second. In the world, they can't touch it.
I was going to say, they're the only American-made one.
Yeah, well, no offense to us. Microsoft's great, but those Japanese make some cool
my
ass
favorites,
things.
I like Sony, and Nintendo's been doing it hard for like 25, 30 years.
Yeah.
Probably longer than that. So good for them.
1984, I think.
So
Nintendo
like
released
40 years. So
40 years.
good for them. Nintendo probably ends up winning. I'm just very biased with my Sony PlayStations.
Yeah, I think overall, just
I like the games I get. I like the Last of Us, Red Dead Redemption, stuff like that.
Uncharted,
Yeah.
Half-Life.
Red Dead Redemption, I think you can get on Xbox now, but originally
You can get. So they're even nowadays, not to go off on a crazy tangent on video games here, PlayStation's taking a lot of those exclusives and releasing them on PC. So other people get to touch them, like the God of Wars, the Uncharted, the Spider-Man.
That was the only bullet I had on why PlayStation was better.
Well, this is why the best system of all time is probably the PC, because you can play all of them on it. But yeah, I mean, I think we've touched on everything we care about. Anything that we missed? Anything you could think of?
Not that I think.
Anything
about,
that you can think about in your head? Like anything you remember as a kid?
Think.
I know it's hard.
No, man.
Well, as always, we're always going to play a little game. So last week, Justin had me do a blind tournament,
Which I liked.
This week, I'm boring. So we're going to go back to a blind rank.
Don't worry, guys. I'll have another tournament for you eventually.
It was hard to do a tournament.
Not with me.
You know what? We did miss one thing.
What?
The biggest craze of the 90s when it came to toys. People were scalping. This is what helped eBay get so big.
Oh, Beanie Babies.
Beanie Babies.
Holy.
You believe we almost missed Beanie Babies?
No, I don't know how we're going to do 90s toys and not hit Beanie Babies.
I didn't even type it on my thing. And I think I did originally and I erased it.
We talk about a craze. Like, this was Elmo except all year. For years. For what, like 5, 6 years?
Yeah.
Was it 95 to 98, 90s?
I don't know. I just remember people were buying them and thinking they were going to be worth all this money. And then all of a sudden, the bottom just dropped.
eBay blew up.
I mean, they were
on
so
it.
cute.
People's full-time jobs was buying Beanie Babies and selling them on eBay. And then whenever that guy, Ty Warner, whenever he partnered with freaking McDonald's and had the mini Beanie Babies, oh, bro, the floodgates.
I mean, it's crazy.
I mean, there's not much else to say about it except it was a weird phase that blew up for a few years. And I remember people having their collections years after.
And they're worthless.
Yeah. They're still cool and soft, though. And they're fun to throw at people.
All right. So I'm going to give you 5 toys.
Okay.
And I want you to give me a rank, 1 through 5.
All right.
All right.
Let's do it.
And I don't really have to do much because luckily for me, I have a lot of toys in front of me. So we're going to come out the gate hard. And I'm going to throw Power Rangers.
Power Rangers.
Megazord, to be exact. The original Megazord.
Power Rangers Megazord. Endurance, durability. We're going to give it an 8. It's pretty built to last. For people with autism, like myself, who need a bunch of flashy colors and moving parts, that gets a solid 9 as well. It keeps us occupied. This toy came out hard, man. It's very flashy, very functional. I'm going to put that... It's hard to do number 1 right off the rip, but I'm going to put it 2 to be safe.
2. All right. Next, I just want you to look straight across.
Okay.
Because in the 1990s, wrestling action figures changed forever. And a little company called Jax Unlimited started releasing the most badass wrestling figures of all time.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to take this one right here because I know it's your favorite and it's mine. That's why it's right here.
The color of those trunks, man.
Where do you put Shawn Michaels, WWF Superstars, number Series 3?
So,
And I'll just say action figures wrestling figures as a whole from the 90s. So everyone in front of you.
so I'm gonna take my love for wrestling and biasness out of it. Um, as functionality compared to the Megazords and Power Rangers, there's not much to it, so it ranks way below that.
Really?
Yeah, the most thing that's going to come up to it is diehard fans, people who are wrestling fans wanting these, and then it's just pure imagination from then on.
You didn't have a wrestling ring as a kid?
I
And would
did,
sit there
but
and
listen,
the dream
like I
matches?
said, I was a wrestling fan, so this is specific to wrestling fans and
But this
pure
is your
imagination.
rank.
Exactly, and I'm still going on. So, with that being said, there's not much to it. Blah blah blah. I had a bunch of them. Only because I like wrestling figures, they're not going to be ranked lower than 3.
I just want to take it out of the package. I want to touch that. I bet it feels so cool still.
Not bad. But like I said, there's not much you could do with it besides once you do your little dream matches, it's kind of done.
And I don't even put the WCW ones in there because look how much nicer.
You also don't want to take them out of their packages because you feel like you're ruining them, blah, blah, blah.
Honestly, they're not worth that much money. I mean, I'm sitting here with Owen Hart and the man's no
you
longer
asked me to do a blind ranking and I'm explaining my answer, sir.
Oh, I know.
Please stop arguing my explanation.
I like your explanation.
What we got next? So we got wrestling action figures at 3. We got Megazords at 2.
Yeah.
Are you surprised?
No, honestly.
I'm gonna be surprised if something stupid like Tamagotchi ends up at 1 because
I wasn't gonna put
options you gave.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna put that there. But I am gonna go Pokemon cards next.
Pokemon cards are 1.
That wasn't hard, was it?
No, because of the phrase, not only at the time, I think kids today like Pokemon cards. I don't want to say just as much as we did because I think we were pretty damn hard on it. But there's still kids today collecting Pokemon cards.
Bro,
and they're just as popular,
hard on it.
And there's so much different variations. They're still making money. Just Pokemon cards all day, number 1.
Pogs.
Pogs?
You remember Pogs?
No.
Do I have to jog your memory?
Yes.
You don't remember Pogs?
No. So unless you can...
Pogs, they were little things. They were round little discs.
5.
All right. Since you didn't know what Pogs were.
Sorry.
I can't believe you know what Pogs are.
Yeah, 5.
That's fine. That's fine.
Do you believe in love at the love?
I wasn't very prepared for this. Oh, here we go.
You had a week, guys.
Moon shoes.
Moon shoes, okay.
And they're going to go at 4.
Pretty freaking 90s. I'm putting those at 5.
You already put Pogs at 5. Moon shoes are going at 4.
Oh, you actually kept Pogs on? Yeah. I thought you were looking for something else. Okay,
no.
Fine. Moon shoes 4. We'll go with that.
So, I'm not going to
lie.
show
me what Pogs are? I'm bothered now.
All right.
Says you're going to... Do you have to jog my memory? And then you went on to the next one.
Is there a video? Let's find a video. I got this. Pogs commercial. Look how horrible that looks. Remember a little round disc with the slammers?
What do you do with them?
There was like a stupid game we played.
Yeah.
It was a little, they're like early 90s.
Sorry, bro.
I know. They had like big slammers, and you would like put them all in the center, and then you'd slam them, and whoever slammed them and grabbed the most got all your Pogs. You'd lose Pogs all the time. They used to call them milk caps back in the days.
You're a milk cat.
So, just to recap, Pogs at 5. I would have put Pogs at 5 too. I 100% agree with that. Moon Shoes at 4. Once again, I agree. Moon Shoes are awesome though. Wrestlers, action figures at 3. Power Rangers at 2. And number 1, Pokemon cards.
I think I did pretty damn good.
I think
with
you
that
did pretty
ranking,
good
man.
too.
I think I nailed that one.
I think you did. You really threw me for a loop when you did Power Rangers at 2 and then Wrestlers at 3. I actually thought you'd get one of those at 1 and then be screwed on Pokemon cards.
I'm glad I'm glad
You
I
did
held
great.
out for it, man. I like me talking myself through it. Probably helped with that.
It did, and we did it. I mean, it was great.
And you tried baiting me. You weren't going to pull Wesley Snipes again. I promise you. I listened to episode 1.
That never made it to tape.
No. Oh, you guys don't know about Wesley Snipes.
Our original blind rank, dude.
Yeah, you weren't going to Wesley Snipes.
Oh, that was.
Again, man.
I still wish we had that because that was perfection.
Yeah, that's how blind rankings work.
Third episode. This was probably the easiest one.
I felt like we shot through this.
No breaks.
Did we get an hour?
Let's see. I haven't looked at the recording.
What's the time? But all together, hopefully that sounded.
Dude, we're over an hour and there's no editing.
Really?
We didn't do anything. We didn't do wrong.
Good job, bro. Yeah.
So, what do you guys think? I think this might have been the best one yet.
All right, well, let's not be so conceited, asshole.
I'm not trying to be conceited, but comparing to the last 2, the last one sucked.
Yeah.
I couldn't listen to it.
I tried to tell you I wanted to do it in a good, nice way. I didn't want to be an asshole. I was not satisfied with episode 2 at all.
I wasn't either.
I thought it was bad, but
I thought there was some good into it. So I listened to it in clips and went through the good.
I listened to the whole thing.
Yeah, I couldn't do that. I didn't live.
That's a problem.
I didn't listen to I didn't listen to the whole first podcast we did.
Dude,
either.
I listened to our first podcast 7 times. I'm conceited as fuck.
I think this one's the best.
We'll see.
And I think we went an hour strong, no editing really. I don't think I'll have to. I mean, you didn't fucking stumble over one word. We didn't say any racial slurs. Yeah, we didn't do anything wrong.
You didn't call me the F word today.
Oh, I didn't. I messed up a great joke last week. So that would have made that whole episode.
Yeah, he made an awesome joke, and he said a very bad word that he shouldn't say, and we had to edit it.
It still means cigarette in French.
And then also bundle sticks. Great, but we're not going to say it.
But I mean, final thoughts. What'd you think?
I thought it was fun. I thought this was a fun episode. Just like every category we visit from the 90s, I'm very biased and I love everything we talk about. I don't know if everybody else is going to love some of this stuff as much as we do, but
what's not to love? We talked about the internet, Amazon, and Google.
Pokemon cards, man. Come on, man.
Wrestlers. We shot our first video. Mm-hmm. And this is our little podcast studio.
Guys, and cool. I just want to say Jonathan set this whole setup up by himself. All this is part of his collection, and I think he did an awesome job on it. So, Jonathan, I think this looks dope.
I mean, so let's just, I know we're going a little long, but we have Pokemon, Super Nintendo Puzzle, Nintendo Power WWF Wrestling Edition. 2 perfect things. We have the Power Rangers, we got the Tiger Zord, we got the Falcon Zord, we got the Mega Zord, we got the little Power Rangers down there, and then my favorite thing, the middle. If I could just grab something, I want to point something out for both of us. So we got the 2 Playboys, the first time that 2 wrestling divas were in Playboy. You have Chyna and Sable.
So they're not up here to be just misogynistic. They're 90s wrestling.
They're 90s cool
guys.
And then I have the old WWF magazines there. I got my WrestleMania program from with WrestleMania. Found that. Some Mortal Kombat. I got some Mortal Kombat there because we like. And I put both of our favorite characters up there, Sub-Zero and Scorpion.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Triple H and The Rock.
Well, that's cool too.
Yeah.
SmackDown too, and I got all the wrestling games.
And then I love some Paul Levesque.
That thing up top, that's pretty cool. That I remember when they released those grudge matches with. That's the WrestleMania.
Those are the Bone Crunch ones, right? The ones back in the '98, they had the Hulk and Animal doing the commercials. Yeah. Like the Bushwhackers would crush their toys into a locker, and they'd go ooh.
I wonder if with the video, if I can edit in some commercials from the '90s for this stuff.
As long as we wouldn't get sued, man.
I don't want to get sued. And then I threw a handful of random video games up here with Uncharted, Half-Life, Resident Evil 4. Those three games
Those are
alone,
bangers,
those are three
man.
bangers. And then just the Masters up there for some golf.
The Masters, what a time.
hmm
Tiger Woods is
And
approaching the green.
I'd like to shout out. This
Putting
is
in for three.
a sketch from my grandfather.
The egg.
I have no idea what it is. It's funny.
It looks like Jones smoking a pipe.
It probably is John smoking a
It
pipe.
looks like maybe he was psychic.
And then we got our wrestlers.
We got wrestlers.
But
So I just want to say, I already kind of the order you set up is kind of nice. You got the Brothers of Destruction, Kane and Taker together. Then you got Mankind opposing the other side of Kane, which is really nice. I am disappointed that it goes Shawn Michaels, Owen Hart, when it could have went Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, Owen Hart. But
in
it
my
still looks nice,
defense,
man.
is I hate Bret Hart, and that's why he's in the corner.
I do hate Bret Hart also, so I will take that as because I like Owen Hart a lot better. I really do.
God rest his soul.
He was fun to watch, man. I told you started rewatching '98 Raw, and I'm at the point after the screw job, and he comes in as the whole invasion thing, blah blah blah. So I'm waiting to see.
Was that when he joined the Nation? Not yet, right?
Don't
sorry, spoilers.
I just told you he
Spoilers.
came in as the invasion.
Spoilers.
I haven't seen
30 years ago.
I haven't seen the 1998 episode where he joins the
30
Domination.
almost 30 years ago. Sorry, spoilers.
And no, I haven't seen those awful trunks he wears with the caution tape.
And I want to shout out Chris Benoit all over there. I know it's controversial to have him, but I think that's pretty cool. I have his action figure. I mean, that was pre him going crazy.
I know.
DDP, and I had to have the WCW stuff.
We don't warrant what he does, but I will say, growing up, like Eddie Guerrero was my favorite wrestler back at the time, and the WrestleMania where this guy won the World Heavyweight Championship, and then Eddie Guerrero came and embraced him, and they both had their heavyweight championships. That was a good ass moment.
Well, not to defend him, Eddie Diane messed him up.
Yeah, but we
then,
just. Yeah, fucked up situation. I mean, we're not
But
justifying any. But this guy right here is a fucking saint.
So I'm gonna shout out DDP because
he's a saint, dude.
I tweeted at him one time, probably 10 years ago, and he retweeted me. And I might add him again because DDP lives close. He's not far.
No,
he lives in Florida.
Well, the thing, DDP is like saving people's lives, man.
DDP Yoga, shout it out.
Like the
Jake
DDP
the Snake.
Yoga, Jake the Snake. He's helping
Scott Hall.
Scott Hall. He's helping Butterbean lose weight and get better now. So DDP's doing a lot of good thing for people, man, and keep it up, Diamond Dallas.
And then Mr. Perfect.
Kurt Hennig, R.I.P.
Yeah, I mean, old school Giant.
Yeah,
Big show down there.
Paul White, the Giant.
And then just for shits and giggles, I had Ken Shamrock and Dan Severn.
I love the Dan Severn one. I could care less.
I don't know where. I don't think
a
that
lot of
exists.
shit about Kim Shamrock, but again, in '98 on some of those episodes of Raw,
Intercontinental Champion.
He was good.
That feud with The Rock was awesome.
Yeah.
Or when he had Shawn Michaels in the ankle lock, and Shawn still had the lollipop in his mouth. God, the late '90s was cool.
They're good
and
episodes of Raw.
To end it, Takamichi Noju, the first light heavyweight champion.
The guy. So again, same episodes of Raw, dude. It's a great time in wrestling. That's whenever he was having his feud with Jerry Lawler's son.
Brian Christopher.
Brian Christopher, yeah. Grandmaster Cool. But yeah, it's fun stuff, man. Lawler was getting in the ring and wrestling with him a little bit too.
Jerry the King.
Yeah. R.I.P. No,
he's alive.
I know.
No, he's had some issues, but he's alive.
We love you, Jerry.
Well, I'd like to thank everybody for listening today. I'm Jonathan.
I'm Justin.
And that was
2 J's,
1 Pod.